A democratic elected president who was kicked out of power by military a year ago should now lose his immunity from prosecution, Niger's top court has ruled. So finally, Bazoum has been stripped of his immunity by a top court in Niger, which is very good because now he can be prosecuted for him to come and give account of how he managed the resources and the affairs of that country in the time he was in power before he was toppled out by the junta leader, by the coup that happened in Niger 1 year ago. And since 1 year that he has been toppled out, we can see that Niger does not depend on the aid that was coming to Niger from the west, which at that time made Niger the most poorest country in the world. And we can see that since the junta leader is in power for 1 year now, we can see a whole lot of things that are changing, of which the Niger people never experienced in the time of Bazoum in office. That decision by the newly created body clears the way for Mohamed Bazoum, 64, to be tried by a military court. Yes. So in as much as he has been stripped of his immunity, it would have only been fair for him to be tried in a civilian court through their constitution. Yes, because the way of the military court and the way of the civilian court is two different things. He and his wife Hadiza have been detained in the presidential palace without a telephone since the coup last July. Since then, Niger's new military leaders have brought in drastic policy changes, including severing defense and diplomatic ties with former colonial power France and pivoting towards Russia. Yes, it was very clear that France was completely ripping Niger off. France was the one that kept Niger in the situation Niger was with the help of Bazoum and the previous presidents. The ruling junta in the capital, Niamey, has been legally empowered to prosecute him on charges of treason, undermining national security and financing terrorism. So a whole president is now being charged of treason. Former president is now being charged of treason and undermining national security. That says a lot. And financing terrorism. That is even the height of it all. Because we know that a whole lot of security concern is ongoing in the Sahel, which Niger is part of the countries that have access to that Sahel. Mr. Bazoum's lawyers have called the process a travesty and withdrew from a hearing last week. They say they have not been able to meet their client face to face. I don't even know if President Bazoum is aware of the lifting of his immunity, the former president's communications advisor Hamid said. That decision by the newly created body clears him. Yes, for him to be prosecuted, including his wife. Yes, so it's now time for him to face, even though it would have been fair that he's been made to face a civilian court, not a military court. But since the policies has been changed, it now gives the junta leader the right to prosecute him. So that is why they are now sending him to military court. Because apparently it's a military rule in Niger, and that being said, it gives the president the right, or the junta leader the right, to try him in military court. We only get news about him from his doctor, who sees him twice a week. No one knows how he is coping psychologically, he added. Yes. So the time he was in power, did he bother to know how the average Niger people are coping psychologically, emotionally, mental-wise, physical-wise? So now the table has been turned around. His communication advisor is now saying that they don't know, they only hear about him from his doctor who visits him twice a week, that they don't know how he is feeling psychologically. When he was selling Niger's uranium at the rate of 80 cents to the French, while it was being sold at $200 per kilo in the international market, and the Niger people did not have light. The Niger people were suffering all manner of poverty. Nobody thought about the mental health, the psychological health, the physical health, the emotional health of average Niger people. He should face the dance he has been beating for a long time. I just hope that the military court will be fair in passing their judgment.